That's the camera. Look at all our streamers. Oh, yeah.
Over there.
Come on up, Monty.
Oh, I get to come up now.
You come on now.
All right.
If you don't know Monty, you need to know him. He is the foremost expert. No. If I have a super serious lending question, you ask him.
He all right.
He knows.
He's all right.
He all right.
Ellen Ortega in the back. She's my team leader.
Yeah.
She's also a licensed and she also speaks Tagalog.
Wow.
So we have to see. So just to let you know, we got Spanish and Tagalog in the office. And this is Chris Murphy. He's also a licensed
Chris.
He speaks sports.
He's my guy right there.
Played baseball in college. So
Oh, okay.
anyways, you guys, I'm here. We're right down the street. We're a supporter of the community. This is all about us. So we're just here to help support you guys in business. Program-wise, we do it all. I just want to give you a brief understanding of mortgage rates really quick. So we know rates are going up. We know the Fed has raised the federal funds rate 0.5%. Last week, they came out and made a comment that they're willing to allow the federal funds rate to run above their target rate. The Fed's target rate for the federal funds rate is 2%. Right now, it's 1%. Okay? When they said that, they're willing to let it go above that. That means future Fed rates in the future will be probably above 2%. We know there's 2.5% rates coming up, one in June, probably one in July. The big miss we don't know about is their balance sheet runoff, which starts in June. How that happens will dictate how quickly mortgage rates continue to rise, right? So I'm telling our clients today, yes, mortgage rates are on an uprising. They're going to go up. We do know that after that, what happens, inflation starts to come down as a result of recession. Yes, we will see a recession. We're already starting to see signs of that. So those folks who are buying houses now at that 5.25%, 5.5% rate, we do believe that next year, first quarter next year, they should be in position to refinance those back to maybe 4.25%, 4.5%. Right? So tell them, don't freak out, don't panic. If you qualify and you benefit, you buy now. And it will change. They will be in position to be able to refinance a lower rate. If you have any questions about the market, feel free to reach out to me because I pay attention.
When's the best time to buy a home?
Today.
Now.
When's the second best time?
Today.
Today's second best
So,
time.
I read a great book. This is an old school book. I probably date myself. Called The Art of Selling. Tom, what's his last name? I can't even remember his last name. Tom Hopkins. And Tom Hopkins said that if they qualify and they benefit, they should own it. If they don't own it, we got to get better at selling it. That was a quote by Tom Hopkins. So our goal is to show them why it's important to still buy. Because we know over the last 50 years, real estate has appreciated at 5% a year, including the times the market crashed. So if you have any questions for me, I'm here to support. We got some good snacks for you, some bad snacks for you, some energy drinks for you. You know, we're here to support.
You said they appreciate after 50 years?
Average appreciation in real estate over the last 50 years has been 5%, including the 2008 crash.
And you guys got to know, when he says recession, a lot of people out there think it's like they have PTSD from the Great Recession. It's not going to be like that. We have well underwritten loans now, and also we have a severe lack of inventory still. So most people are not projecting a decline, even if it is, they see it short term, right? So,
I did a presentation on this exact fact, showing in each of the recessions for the last 75 years, housing actually either didn't depreciate or appreciated throughout each recession. The only one that it didn't was 2008. When that was when we had 2 million homes on the market and only 1 million buyers. Yeah. Now we've got 1 million buyers and only 1 million homes on the market. Big difference. It's a huge difference.
Yeah, so most economists are projecting values of homes still to go up even through a recession. So.
And even if they were to
let's say they go down 5,
contract 5 or 10%, that a bad thing for us? What do you think would happen to our buyers and sellers out there? I think we'd get more houses on the market, more buyers enter the market. So actually, it's not a bad thing to have any type of a recession.
Actually,
Or
we prefer a 3-5% clip because it keeps normalcy in the market, more buyers, more sellers, right?
All right, it's your show.
All right,
I'm
thanks,
gonna get out of the way. Thank you. Well, she's the only one I get a clap from.
Want to know, Monty, right there?
Just take that off.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, his gate.
All right, super excited. 6 personal perspectives. If you don't know what this is or haven't heard it before, it's literally the foundational mindsets that you need to have to be successful. And this doesn't even matter in real estate, although this is pertaining to real estate. It matters across your life, your industry, whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter what industry you are. You need to do this. And one thing it does focus on, and I'm going to stress this as one of my favorite things, is mindset. All right? We talk about skills, right? Experience and mindset. Mindset is what makes people grow and what makes people achieve past certain ceilings in their life. If you're there hitting ceilings in your life and you can look back on your life and you hit ceiling after ceiling, your income's never been above this. Your job quality has never been above this, or you're hitting certain ceilings and you want to go above that, then 6 personal perspectives is where you start. And I tell you, I took this class, I don't know, over a decade ago. And I took it several times, and I realized every time that, wow, this is what I needed to do. This started me on the journey, and then it ended with, not ended, but it took a leap with one thing, and then the book, and then over there. But I love this class. The first thing we're talking about is mindset. There's going to be this little TED Talk. And I just want to show you, it's a quick video, 4 minutes, but it's about a guy who was on the plane that landed in the Hudson River, but not the pilot, the guy on the plane.
So imagine a big explosion as you climb through 3,000 feet. Imagine a plane full of smoke. Imagine an engine going clack, 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 clack. Sounds scary. Well, I had a unique seat that day. I was sitting in 1D. I was the only one who could talk to the flight attendants. So I looked at them right away, and they said, no problem. We probably hit some birds. The pilot had already turned the plane around, and we weren't that far. You could see Manhattan. 2 minutes later, 3 things happen at the same time. The pilot lines up the plane with the Hudson River. It's usually not the route. He turns off the engines. Now imagine being on a plane with no sound. And then he says 3 words, as unemotional 3 words as I've ever heard. He says, brace for impact. I didn't have to talk to the flight attendant anymore. I could see in her eyes, it was terror. Life was over. And I want to share with you 3 things I learned about myself that day. I learned that it all changes in an instant. We have this bucket list, we have these things we want to do in life, and I thought about all the people I wanted to reach out that I didn't, all the fences I wanted to mend, all the experiences I wanted to have and I never did. As I thought about that, later on I came up with a saying, which is, I collect bad wines. Because if the wine is ready and the person is there, I'm opening it. I no longer want to postpone anything in life. And that urgency, that purpose has really changed my life. The second thing I learned that day, and this is as we clear the George Washington Bridge, which was by not a lot, I thought about, wow, I really feel one real regret. I've lived a good life. In my own humanity and mistakes, I've tried to get better at everything I tried. But in my humanity, I also allow my ego to get in. And I regretted the time I wasted in things that did not matter with people that matter. And I thought about my relationship with my wife, with my friends, with people. And after, as I reflected on that, I decided to eliminate negative energy from my life. It's not perfect. It's a lot better. I've not had a fight with my wife in 2 years. It feels great. I'm no longer trying to be right. I choose to be happy. The third thing I learned, and this is as your mental clock starts going 15, 14, 13, you can see the water coming. I'm saying, please blow up. Right? I don't want this thing to break in 20 pieces like you've seen in those documentaries. And as we're coming down, I had a sense of, wow, dying is not scary. It's almost like we've been preparing for it our whole lives. But it was very sad. I didn't want to go. I love my life. And that sadness really framed in one thought, which is, I only wish for one thing. I only wish I could see my kids grow up. About a month later, I was in a performance by my daughter, first grader, not much artistic talent yet. And I'm bawling, I'm crying like a little kid. And it made all the sense in the world to me. I realized at that point, by connecting those two dots, that the only thing that matters in my life is being a great dad. Above all, the only goal I have in life is to be a good dad. I was given the gift of a miracle, of not dying that day. I was given another gift, which was to be able to see into the future and come back and live differently. I challenge you guys that are flying today. Imagine the same thing happens on your plane, and please don't. But imagine, and how would you change? What would you get done that you're waiting to get done because you think you'll be here forever? How would you change your relationships and the negative energy in them? And more than anything, are you being the best parent you can? Thank you.
So I want to show that video, the power of mindset, right? The power of perspective, right? So imagine that. I want you guys to think about that. Imagine you know you're going to die.
So that's Johnny Depp, of course.
Just like that.
And that's Johnny Depp's shoulder.
Oh.
And that's Johnny Depp's famous shoulder tattoo.
I'm here for it.
Some of you might know that in 1990.
And what are you going to have? What is still on your list? Because everyone thinks they got another day. Everyone thinks they got another year, another week, another month. What have you left on the list? Especially relationship-wise. So I want you to think about that as we go through this. Imagine you have super clarity on what was the most important things in your life. Super clarity. And that you put your time and energy toward those things. What would your life be? If you turn to page 9 on your book, we're going to talk about the 6 personal perspectives. So
There a link?
there should be a link on there, right? They put the yeah. So on page 9, you should be on Zoom there. It should say 6 personal perspectives on there. Does it say that? All right. Number 1 is commit to self-mastery. So your mindset holds a key to what you can accomplish. Your attitudes, beliefs determine your mindset. So if you look at step 1, it says commit to self-mastery. What does that mean to you? So right there on the right, write down, what does self-mastery mean to you? And we're going to So just so you know, your approach to life, your attitudes, and your mindset determines your success. You want to live here. If you're missing, most people miss mindset, that's where your success. So when we talk about not working. Yeah. That's not working. Yes. What is the difference of those who achieve the highest levels and those who don't seem to accomplish as much? What do you guys think?
What do you think?
The way they think?
Discipline?
Discipline?
Power to get something done.
So resources?
Mental your physical resources of yourself. Keep going, regardless of how bad it gets. You keep going.
Okay, so determination or determination?
Sagacity.
Anyone else?
Confident.
Confidence.
That's something you said
So
before.
we talk about thoughts, determination, confidence. What else? Simone?
Connections.
Connections. Relationships. Anyone else? So if you think about those, what? If you think about that, everything you said, how you think, right? Your relationships, all that regards to mindset. So everything you talked about, if you notice, was in you, right? Even your relationships, you talked about your connections. That's how you maintain those connections, how you develop those relationships, right? So everything you can, everything you think you can do happens with mindset. And this is the key to making everything be successful. And to do that, mindset is the only thing that's really going to help you change your attitude and your approach to life. Now, the thing that we have problems with is we all love our parents, but they gave us a lot of programming about how life should be and how relationships should be and what success is and what success isn't. And also, along with your personality, you have developed attitudes and approaches to life. And unfortunately, if you are constantly hitting a ceiling, that means whatever they have taught you, and that's not good or bad, even your experiences, that you are hitting a ceiling because your mindset is stuck there. And if you look, if I really did a deep dive into your history, and I can pick out whatever you say you're frustrated with as far as lack of success or not success, I'm going to point to, and we're going to look, and we can look back, and we'll see a repeated history, and it'll just look different, but the pattern will always be the same. And it's you hitting a ceiling, and you're seeing a pattern that comes up again and again and again. And the answer is you always look to something else to solve that problem instead of looking inward and changing your mindset. So how do we look inward? This is the 6 personal perspectives. Every time something is not going right in your life, you're not achieving the goals you want, you're not moving toward the progress you want, you should look internally. I don't care if I did everything to keep an agent in the office and they leave. The number one thing I say is, how did I fail them? How did I fail them? And maybe they didn't want us to come to class and they didn't want to do anything, and I felt like I could say like, oh, they never showed up, they never came to class, they didn't follow coaching, whatever. But what could I have done to make it important to them that they show up, that they felt that was important, right? So you always have to think, what is my mindset going to be? Okay, cool. It is? Okay. So commit to self-mastery. So these are 6 steps. We're going to go through 3 and then 3 more tomorrow. Number 1 is commit to self-mastery. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. Right there, I'm going to nail it. I'm going to master this. And this is, I need you to understand this. Everything needs mastering. When you see big agents out there doing a high level of business, it's because they probably mastered 1 or 2 things. Literally, that's about it. They mastered 1 or 2 things. So you need to commit to self-mastery. It's funny, I see agents all the time talking about like, oh, I do open houses, I don't get results, and then I can put Afton out there and do open houses, and she gets 3 appointments from the open house, right? What's the difference is she's mastered it. She knows all the fine nuances. She knows the scripts to say at the beginning. She knows the scripts to say afternoon. She knows how to set up the open house. She knows how to make sure people get to the open house. She knows how to talk to them when they walk out. She knows how to convert them 2 weeks after the open house. So if you don't understand that there's mastery in everything you do in real estate, then you're gonna struggle. There's mastery in everything. And then 2 is gonna be commit to the 80-20 principle. I'm gonna focus on my big rocks. And this is probably the biggest thing that makes a difference, honestly. If you could do 80-20, you're gonna have a great life. So, and this is related to the Pareto Principle, and it just says this is 20% of your actions that you do daily in your life lead to 80% of your results, the money. Heck, even in relationships, 20% of what you do in your relationships lead to 80% of the outcome of that relationship. What if you identified only your 20%? As a real estate agent, say you identified only your 20%. What if you did only your 20% all day? What would your business look like? And that's the difference between a lot of top producers and not, or people who are successful, is they know their 20% and they only try to do their 20%. Or they check off their 20% every day no matter what, then do the other stuff. But you'll see the people who get high up in this industry, what do they do? Well, that's why we have teams, right? What do the teams do? Teams are constantly trying to get rid of their 80%. I was just in a meeting with my team, and we were talking about restructuring the team and doing some things. I'm like, why do I? I was like, I gotta get showings off of Rich. Rich should only doing listing appointments. Why? Because that's his 80%. If he does only listings, we get more listings, the team wins. We find buyers, we have plenty of buyers. That's the difference, right? So you gotta think about what's your 20%. And if you're a real estate agent, what's that? Lead gen. Literally lead gen. If you do not have enough leads, it's lead gen. If you do not have enough business, that means you do not have enough clients, then you have a lead problem. And you should be lead genning like no tomorrow. And the only thing you should be working on or worried about is, other than going to trainings, is doing lead generation or preparing to do lead generation, like getting ready for an open house or something. Right? Yeah. All right. Move E to P. I am purposeful about breaking through my ceiling of achievement. This was my biggest issue, I can tell you. E to P. I can tell you I'm about a 30 transaction agent. 30. Most people be like, freaking John, I love 30 transactions, right? I found out I was at 30. And how did I find out? My second year I did 27. And I said, next year I'm gonna do 50. And the next year I did 29. The next year I said I'm gonna do 50. And the next year I did 31. And then I went back to 28. And for 4 or 5 years, I did 30, essentially. I hovered around 30. No matter how much I worked, no matter what I did. And that's because I was being entrepreneurial. I had no systems. I had no models. I was being John. And John's great. John does 30 transactions. But I'll be damned if I'm going to be doing 40 years of real estate doing 30 transactions, right? So that's not my idea of the life that I want. So I was hitting a ceiling, and I was hitting a ceiling every year. And to the point I made a mistake. I literally said, screw this. The people that have more than 30 transactions have teams. So I just hired all my friends to make a team, and we just did it. And I did 71 deals. But then that's the year I made $30,000 because I spent my money trying to make more transactions happen instead of doing it the right way. And then what I had to do, I had to fire everyone, start over, and build it back from basics, right? And then I had to learn to get purposeful about my business, running it off models. That's when I went to, well, now career visioning 3 times. I wanted to know how to build a team. I wanted to know what the metrics were, how many transactions I could do before I hired, who was my first hire, what should they be doing, right? I wanted to be purposeful. And then I steadily shot through, right? So.
What does the E stand for?
Entrepreneurial.
Entrepreneurial to
Purposeful. So right now, think of entrepreneurial as you. All your experiences, all your talents, all your abilities, all balled up into one to make up you. And there should be no shame in this. When you look at you and you're in real estate, whatever number of transactions you've done in any given year, that's you being entrepreneurial. And for some new agents, that may be 0. That may be 0. And that's not bad. That just means there's a ceiling you need to break through. That means there's parts of your life that aren't purposeful enough to make transactions happen, right? So if you're worried about that, then it's being purposeful, right? Entrepreneurial purposeful. And I saw this is like running your business like fitness. Being learning based. I can't stress this enough. I was broker. Thank you, Bruce. But I can tell you, realtors came to I've done, I don't know, 1,000 transactions. I went through the recession, so I've seen some crazy stuff. I was doing some weird, during the recession, I knew loan guidelines as good as the lenders because you had to figure out how to get a loan done, right? So, yeah, you haven't experienced that. But I tell you what, I have people come to me, even in this market, say, John, what about this? And I'm like, I haven't. Nope. Let me call somebody. You always have to be learning based, especially in real estate. There's never thing. And I can tell you, eventually your pursuit of self-mastery is going to be a self-pursuit, meaning I want to be the best person I can be. I want to be the best person I can be. And that happens through learning. Unlimit your thinking. This is big. When you talk about confidence, this is big. You got to fundamentally believe that anyone can do anything. It's just about being purposeful, doing your 80-20, right? And this is the key. This is what I'm telling you is, I know this sounds airy-fairy, but this is the secret sauce. Like people are like, oh, this is the secret sauce. It's you, literally you. And it's you being better. And be accountable. It's not my own. You own all results. All results. If your results say 0, then you suck. You suck. Own it. How do I get better? Own it. You want to get fast out of this business? Be a victim. I tell you people, like, whenever someone if you got bad results in your life and you point fingers at other people, you are a lack of accountability. I'm trying to do an intentional journal, fill it out every day. I literally have 5, now 6 people who they text me a copy that they did it that morning, and I text them a copy back. And I just do that because I want to be accountable to myself. I want people expecting things of me to make me do things, right? I want that accountability. So be accountable. If you want results, tell people. If you're going to kill it in real estate, tell your spouse. Say, I'm going to bring in much money next year, and I'm going to close this many deals. Tell your kids that. Own your accountability, right? Those people, I tell you, this is the hardest to get to. That's why it's step 6. This is hard to get to where you emphatically embrace your results. You emphatically, wholeheartedly embrace your results. And that's a hard place to be, right? Your mirror is you, right? And you're okay with that, right? So, everyone got that?
Yes, that was good.
All right. All right. Hold on. Your challenges. Okay. Remember what did Rick say? He said, I got perspective, right? Better parent, right? So what do you want to change? You right there. This is on page 11, sorry. Page 11. How would you change? What are you waiting to get done because you think you will be here forever? We want you to write 3 things. So those online, you should see that. 3 things, write them down or type them on your computer somewhere. Open your notes section on your computer or your phone. Type 3 things that you haven't achieved yet that you want to achieve in your life that haven't been done. What are you leaving hanging out there? I tell you, I accomplish some things and then I find 3 more. So I'm like, oh, like this. But think big. Think big. Some of you is find a spouse. Some of it is, I want to, what? Put a ring on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was a direct shot.
We make fun of Taylor. She's trying to get someone to put a ring on it, and you won't. That's still the best.
So make sure you guys do credit good.
Yeah, maybe want a spouse with good credit and good job, right?
Right.
Anyone want to share something they want to accomplish? Who's had trouble getting to 3?
I'm stuck on 2.
Stuck on 2? Can't even get to 2. Wow, you
No,
have a
I mean,
full
I'm
life.
stuck, I got 2, I haven't got 3 yet.
I guess I could go.
I like to tell people like
Melinda's
experiences. What's that?
I said Melinda's required to share.
Who is that?
You're yo boss lady.
So job-wise, health-wise, experience-wise, there's a lot in this world. A lot in this world we should be experiencing. Think back to your teenage, young adolescent days watching Disney, right? So I know you were dreaming big. And then the world hit you, right? Hit you upside the head and said,
Teenage.
and the world hit you upside the head and said, no, that's not true, right? It's all a lie.
Did you want us to share?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of funny you talking about this because I don't know if you guys saw the news that at 9 o'clock in the morning, right down the street from me, there was a high-speed chase and 2 people were killed.
Oh, yes, I saw that on the news, yeah.
Right down the street. So, life, you never know when you're going to go. So before I go, God's will, I want to be debt-free. I want to pay off my debt. And Amy's probably saying, she knows I'm going to say, be debt-free, become a homeowner, and travel. I want to travel, Yeah. That's why, I just turned 55. My kids are grown. And it's time for me to, do me and get my stuff together.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I made the adventure club, because I was like, there's stuff on my bucket list I want to do. And I want to do it with other people, right? What's a better venue is like, let's get a group together. Let's make this good for everyone. To make people think better, right? Bigger. Excellent. Anyone else want to share? You don't have to share all 3, you can share 1. Anyone else? Oh, this 2 person. Hinder?
Is that there are no limitations?
What's that?
No limitations to whatever.
Whatever you want. You can say, I want to be a billionaire. I don't care. But I want you to be clear. The clearer something you want to accomplish in life, the more readily you'll go after, right? You'll make things. It's got to be crystal clear. We call SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, right? Relevant, time bound. That means something I can put those parameters around. So it can't be, the more it's, I want to travel, the more it says is, I want to go on 3 1-month vacations a year. Right? Now I can work toward that. I can say, I know how to set up that. I know how to make that work. I know how to, right? That's what you need to get. You need to get crystal clear. And the more crystal clear you are about that, the easier it is to put a cost around it. When we can put a cost around it, then we can put a work product around that, right? And build it. So. But I will say the number one thing you need to get used to is having some self-perspective and self-realization. You have to be one of the biggest things I liked when Rick talked is he said, I just realized how much I had ego around so many things, especially in this relationship. Okay, the number one thing that holds people back, and people thought, John, you're awesome. And I said, I would have done this 5 years earlier. I just had an ego for 5 years, and they had to beat me down to realize I was being stupid and to listen to other people, right? So realize your ego. I can tell you, I used to teach Ignite. I was PC. And by then, I was already a millionaire real estate agent. I was like, okay, everyone, we're going to practice our scripts. Call your database. Right. Everyone call your database. Okay, let's call. 30 minutes. Call 3 people. And like most of them, I want to pick up the phone. And I'm like, I'm a millionaire real estate agent teaching you what to do. And you choose something else. And you choose something else because of ego. Choose something else because of ego, because you think you're smarter. John doesn't know me. John doesn't know my situation. Right? Right? So
Something that works.
So understand that. Ego is a big thing on this. So just understand that. So, all right. What is your goal? So page 13. High achievers have a reality mindset. That is the first thing to do is recognize where they are and proactively take actions based on that reality. Without the reality check, many people are under the illusion they are farther along than they actually are. With a sound reality check, they can calibrate the tools and resources that will need to advance the goal. So what is your goal? So example, thank you for sharing, Alita. She wants to pay off her debt, right? How are you doing with your goal, Alita? Is it going down, going up?
It's maintaining right now.
It's
So I'm
maintaining,
trying-
okay.
As soon as I close some more deals, it's going to
Okay.
But
How do you feel about that? So everyone pick one goal and write it in there. Whatever your most important one, pick your one goal. What is your goal? How are you doing with your goal? How do you feel about that goal? And don't be afraid. It may be like, I like it in my mind, but I have not done anything toward that whatsoever. It could be that. Fine. But you got to think about what is your goal, how you're doing your goal, and how do you feel about that? And what will the future look like if you do not achieve your goal? I talk with many of you. You guys are on truncated timelines, right? Sometimes our timelines to meet our goals is short, right? So what will you do if you don't meet that goal? What does your life look like?
Underachievement.
Oh, it looks pretty scary. Looks like, hope I got Social Security and hope it works. Hope my costs don't increase, right? I can understand it. Certain people get bitter about life, right? So I can understand, right? If you have over time choices taken away from you and ability taken away from you, yeah, that would suck. So what will your future look like if you do not achieve it? I want you to understand that's a very important part because you need to understand the pain. Unfortunately, as human beings, we run away from pain much more than we run toward pleasure. So that's just human psyche. So you need to be real about where you are. And I want you to understand where you are. And that's okay if you're not doing it, even if you want to pay off your debt and it's increasing. You need to realize where you are and where you need to go. So. And I like that quote at the bottom, nothing changes until you do. Right? If you notice anything about these things, the only person that can do something about this is you. Literally you. Right? So. Any aha so far? Anyone want to share anything? Too close to home? Wow. Anyone online want to talk? Come on, there's more sharing out there.
Well, I'll share. For me, I just, going through that process of realizing what my life is going to be like if I don't achieve that goal is something that is so painful to me that, like, I need to get up and just go do that thing. Right? I do not want that future for myself if I do not achieve that.
Yeah, and some of it's very personal. I shared at the team meeting what my daughter said, texted to me, and I had a rocky, since puberty, so since 8th grade, she's a junior now, I've had a rocky relationship, really rocky. And I was like, man, I got like 2 years maybe to fix this. Like literally, that's it. I could fix it later, but it's much harder, right? I got 2 years to fix this. And so I got very purposeful about my relationship. And it was mostly me. It was like, how am I reacting to what she's throwing at me, right? How do I adjust those things? So think about your ahas, right? So any other ahas? Anything online?
Yeah. What you were going to say, you made me think of what Amy was saying about. There's a radio program that has the idea. The average person to get some basic ideas in your head. If you want to get something done, you got to do it yourself. And to get yourself personally out of debt, you just got to manage things. But you have to. It's comes with inside you. Anybody can give you information, but if you don't do anything with it.
But it's not really managing things. What is it really? It's making better choices.
Better choice of what you do.
That's really when you say manage things, it's saying I need to make better choices.
Yes.
Right? Every single day, what I spend my money on, where do I go out to eat lunch? Or do I make lunch at home? All those little things matter, right? And that's a crazy thing that I want you to. And the answer is mindset. How do I change how I make decisions? 2 things. It's my mindset. How do I change my mindset? One of these is this way. You need what Rick talked about is I got perspective. The farther you think out toward your goal, the farther you're married to that goal, you'll make decisions that affect your long-term, not your short. So that's why it's very important. That's why we went through this exercise, is to think about the long-term consequences of this, because you need that to change your perspective on the future. You will start making better decisions when that happens, right? So thank you for sharing that.
John, we heard the same thing in the beginning classes from, I think she's sitting there, Amy told us basically the same thing. I've seen it myself, because you learn things. But you said you have to admit you made some incorrect decision, you're doing a lot of crazy things. Then when you realize that, I can change things. But
you don't have to beat yourself up over it, trust me. I made some epic 6-figure mistakes, okay? So don't beat yourself up over it. I swear I was depressed for like 2 years, but I don't know. So,
John, I was gonna say something. I was gonna say, having generational wealth is important to me. So the mindset will help me achieve my goals.
yeah, think about that. I want generational mindset, right? That's what me and my wife talked about. Like, I was like, they didn't get my money till I'm dead, but that's okay. When they get it, it's gonna, well, obviously we could give them, but think about that. Think about you. Think about all the bull crap. I don't know about you, but like, my family has drama. My wife's family has some drama, and you want to change that. You can change You can change all of that. You can. Think about that. For your kids, everything can change. You can change everything from that point forward. Not only just money-wise, Diane talked about generational wealth, but think about just how healthy their relationships are, right? You could teach your kids to have healthy relationships. Drama. We told our family there was a bunch of drama. We told them, if you come in our household and you bring drama into the household, you're out.
Right.
Even my mother-in-law, she brought in drama. We're like, you can't visit the kids. Sorry, you're out until you check it out the door, right? If you want to do that at home, do it at home, but you're not doing it in our house. But yeah.
And you know what I heard today, that don't say that, I have fear. Fear has you.
Yeah, fear has you.
And I was like, it's true, you don't have it, it has us, so you can change it.
Yeah. Okay, so page 15, what are your ahas? What action step will you make this aha part of your reality? So what do you need to change in your reality? So what do you need to change in your reality? On page 15, write down what step do you need to take to change your reality? What's going to give you that perspective? What's going to change your mindset? I'll tell you about 4 or 5 years ago, I tell the story. I went to my wife and I said, I want to change the way we do. We downsized our house and all this stuff, got our finances right, paid off debt. The whole millionaire path. And that's what I told her. I was like, look, this is our reality. We're really going to change, have generational wealth. You have to change. We have to change, right? And my first action step was getting my wife on board. My wife's more conservative. She's slower. She doesn't come to things. I have to give it a process. And if it's a big change, like we're going to downsize and change our whole family, it's like a 2-year thing. Like I got to plan it 2 years, right? Let it grow and do that. So think about what steps you need to make to change your reality. And almost always it's someone else you need to have a conversation with, right? So, or maybe you need to have a conversation with yourself, right? All right, we're on to the first step. Sorry to get so heavy on you. I know some of you are like internally thinking. Okay, we're going to self-mastery. So, when you commit to self-mastery, self-mastery is the possession of great knowledge, skills, and this is the biggest one, habits that make you master you. Are you the master of you? You're the master of. And I know we all think, I don't know. I started this, I don't know if you read Toby, here, but there's this is Economy Journal for 90 days, and literally every week it makes you track your habits. So literally, I listed 6 habits I want to do, and they're super simple, like lead gen 2 hours, exercise, follow my Weight Watchers app, gratitude daily, go to bed by 10:30, journal daily. Those are my habits. And most of you know, like, I'm a pretty diligent guy. Like I run toward a goal. And the first week I did this, you know what I got? You track how many days you want to do it. I got 19%. Literally, what I said I would do that week for my habits, I did 1 out of 5 times that week. 1 out of 5 times. So I want to point habits. This is the reason that most people struggle. It's not so much, you can get knowledge. A lot of people worry about the knowledge. I have a new agent come in. I want the training. I want to know everything about real estate. I want the skills, like tell me what to say, what to talk to, how do I do my open house well? What they lack is the habits. What they lack is the habits, and the habits are hardest. Why? Because habits are like exercise. I'm sure we all want to lose a little pounds, right? Be a little healthier, eat a little better. Those are habits. And even the best of us are hitting 19% on our goals. And I can tell you, I made it a mission over the weeks to get that number up. 3 weeks ago, I got it above 50%. I got a 51%, and then I got a 69%. And you know what? Those 2 weeks, I felt the most momentum in my personal and professional life that I have in a long time. I felt awesome. And this last week, I fell off. And I fell off. I fell off this week. I felt like, man, this week's a real struggle. And so think about that. Self-mastery is mastering you. The better you master yourself, the farther you'll go. The farther you'll go. So when you commit to achieving self-mastery, you know your goals. I want to put that out there. Some people are like, oh yeah, John, I know my goals. I mean, but know your goals. Know where you're going. Do you know how much money you need to achieve to live your retirement? Or whatever you want to do for your family? You want to send your kid to college with no debts. Do you know how much that costs? Do you know how much that costs 5 years from now, 10 years from now? You want to retire at 50. How are you going to pay for health care? Where's that money come from? Because you can't tap your retirement.
Not at that age.
Not at that age, exactly. So that's why I talk about know your goals. My wife's like, I want to stop at 50. I was like, oh crap. She brings a lot of money. I'm like, oh crap, right? So I was like, okay, we have to buy rentals because we can't tap retirement. I have to buy rentals. And now one of my goals is I burr a house once a quarter. I try every 90 days, I try to buy a house and make it a right? Because I have 5 years, we're both 45, 5 years to get enough income to replace our income so our household doesn't deplete, right? So think about your goals. Do you know them that intimately? Any super wealthy person I know or super successful person is very crystal clear on their goals. They know what they want. They know what they need to do. They know what it looks like. They know what it tastes like. They know what it smells like and feels like. This is a big one, and this is self-realization. Know your strengths and weaknesses. You will never go E to P unless you know this. Megan is the best hire I've had because she is opposite me. And we frustrate each other and we yell at each other. We talk fiercely at each other. But that's because we're opposite. Because it took me a while, but I figured out I need to hire my weaknesses. I need to hire the person that's opposite me, right? Because I'm good at me, and I suck at the parts that I don't want to do, right? Which is like all the tedious crap, right? So, and Megan wants to sit in an office and type on her computer all day, right? So, exactly, right? So that's my weakness. Does that make sense? So you got to understand your strengths and weaknesses. A lot of people try to and this is where people mess up. They try to shore up their weaknesses. I'm going to shore up my weakness. You don't try to shore up a weakness. Now, if you have a weakness that's going to cause a nuclear situation, yeah, you need to shore that up a little bit, like you know, a drug habit or something like that's a weakness that's going to, you know, pretty much blow you up after a while, right? But most of the times, if you get that right, just shore them up where they're not exposed. You can hire them out. Play to your strengths. Play to your strengths. That's the number one way you're going to get straight. Get your skills on your strengths. Get your habits on your strengths. Play to your strengths. I can tell you. Play to your strengths. I can tell you as team leader, most team leaders are more outgoing people. I frankly, I love you guys, but like, you know, I don't want to go to your parties and things, but I just don't want to, right? So I love you guys, but not that. So, and I had to play to it. What am I better at? I'm better on one-on-one situations. I'm better in front of a classroom. So I recruit that way. So I play to my strengths to win. You can win in just think about it, there's no one way to win. In real estate, play to your strengths. Know how to both work with your strengths and your weaknesses to reach your goals. And if you don't know what your strengths and weaknesses are, and you need help with that, we can help you with that. But you need to clearly understand where your strength is in the business. So if you look below there on page, page 17, I believe. Mastery is the possession of great knowledge and skills and habits that make one a master of a subject. It's a journey, not an event. There's a thing called Outliers. So, if you want to read that, it's a very good book. I've read it. So, Outliers talks about why are there people that buck the trend? Why do some people have wild success, like Elon Musk, and others don't? Or maybe you can't say that Elon Musk is super smart. They're super smart people. Others super smart. Why are they not that? What's the difference? Outliers. It's funny, they did a study on the NFL and teams and quarterbacks, and they found that, you know, it's 11 people on one side and 11 people on the other. They found that most of the people were actually hurting the team. That means, and these are professional athletes, that means they're out there and they're actually hurt on most plays, they are hurting their team's ability to win. And then there's one or two people that are so above everyone else, they transcend that, right? They transcend that. That's outliers. Why are those people different? Why is Tom Brady different? Why can't he go to another whole team and make him a Super Bowl champion by himself, right? What is he doing? And I don't know if you ever follow his story. He is super methodical about his health. I mean, super crazy methodical.
6th round draft pick.
6th round draft pick, yeah. Super methodical about his mindset, his health, what he puts in his body is crazy. His workout. So think about that. So Outliers is a good book. Well, we'll talk about this. So, if we go to page 19, put the pieces together. So, say your goal is to master prospecting or lead generation. The next step is to identify your strengths and weaknesses. Are you good with people or do you suck with people? It's okay, you can suck with people. I did my business and I was like, you know what? I don't like going out and talking. I really don't. I don't want to go out there. I put out signs, open house. I'm at the open house, even comes in like, yeah. After I'm like, man, when's this over? I don't want more. Sometimes I wish I'm like, oh man, we're almost over. No one come in, right? Trust me, that's me. So what I do, I set it up. I did a lot of internet marketing, and I made people come to me. And when they came to me, they only wanted to talk real estate because that's what I was pushing, right? And I made it set it up because I played to my strength. I realized I wasn't comfortable doing that, right? And so I made the business the way I want it to be successful. That's understanding your strengths and weaknesses, right? So I tell people, if you like people and you want to go out there like Melinda should do a lot of open houses because every time someone walks in that door, she's gonna be like, this is more awesome than just 10 seconds ago, right? Yeah. And then the next one comes up, she's like, dude, it's getting even better, right?
That's hard.
Right, exactly, right? And she'll feed off that, right? Where I drain energy, it takes that energy away from you. So understand where you come from. And understand just because people drain you doesn't mean you cannot be successful in real estate. Right? So understand that. So then you make the plan, right? Then you make the plan, right? Practice scripts. Take bold. Call your sphere of influence. So, sorry, I'm trying to get this text, so I can't do the video, but we're going to talk about how to achieve your goals. So on page 21, there should be a list. You wrote on page 13, you wrote down your goal. So what is your goal, your top goal, what you want to do? List 3 obstacles that might hinder your success. So on that page, there's 3 obstacles. What are things that likely are going to hinder your success in achieving that goal? And one could be you, right? I make bad decisions, right?
Pretty sure they're all.
Could be all of you. And if you're online, write down 3 things that are going to be obstacles to your one goal, to the top goal you have. What are 3 obstacles? All right, so now we're going to partner up. If you're online, unfortunately we can't partner you up, but I suggest you talk with a significant other. So if you go to page 23, share with your partner what strengths you feel you have that will help you overcome these obstacles. Be sure to write them in the space below. What weaknesses might hinder you overcoming these obstacles? How can you conquer these weaknesses? And are obstacles movable? Utilize your strength, be aware of your weaknesses, what you're planning to get around and over these roadblocks. Or take a little time, partner up. You guys want to partner up? And I think we're off on numbers, so I'll fill in the gap if we need to.
Maybe just breakout room.
I don't know. Can you do breakout rooms? Hey, Desiree, can you do breakout rooms? Ginger Bill? You guys go. I'll do it with Melinda.
All right.
Partner up. So we're going to talk about 2, 3, and 4, right? We're going to talk about 3 obstacles. And we're going to share our 3 obstacles, and then we're going to talk about what strengths you feel.
All right.
What's your goal?
All right. So
What are the 3 obstacles?
goal,
What's your goal?
going back to like our
Okay.
first goal, I want to close 50 transactions this year. Yep.
Okay.
50 transactions, not from our team transactions, just from the business that I bring. Yeah, that I originate. Yep. So how am I doing?
Okay.
Be doing better.
So when you say
And then how do I tackle it? I can do better, you know.
So you're
And but I just don't want to just start. You know, kind of I feel like I can really make mistakes. I feel like kind of
Good job, yeah.
ceiling is like 25 years.
And this is saying life is more
But I want to be able to
maybe
break
the market and economy
break down.
make you lose money, inflation, and gas prices. Okay, that's all. So okay, so let's go
So
to
3 distractions or obstacles
struggles that you feel.
or all of this. Yeah. My obstacles are distractions. And then not purposeful, and then also sometimes just having
Okay, that's good.
with the goal of calling 10 people, whatever it might be, connecting with them.
But think about that.
And then all of a sudden I'm talking with an escrow officer, right? Or on a transaction, and then I get kind of caught in the transaction portions of it. I'm like, oh dang.
So you got your husband.
o'clock.
Exactly. So, yeah, so I would say distraction is like,
So share with your partner what strengths you have that would help
Perspective. But it also helps the relationship.
Yes.
You know,
like that's the ego, right? That would be a strength. Like I would get yeah, and also be a bad thing, right? So like, or sometimes I'm like, right now, right? Sometimes I get too distracted, and that's why I'm.
Oh my gosh, I'm very.
Okay, so your strength is, right?
Exactly.
So that's
That's the strength.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
gotta check my ego, right? So,
think
one of your strengths is I'm willing to.
Sometimes I have too many.
My husband, so.
So I would say,
So you said be more focused, like
yeah, yeah.
and part of that is you want to renew your life. To not be distracted.
That is just crazy.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Or I'm gonna, yeah,
So I'm not gonna check you out.
Yeah, and that's what you're teaching them. You're teaching them. No, I told my daughter, like, you're gonna put a clue in my mouth.
yeah.
That would be like, that's like, I'm making a commitment with myself. So I'm not gonna negotiate. Kobe said it's something like that. Right?
Some parents talk that.
Yeah.
Think about that, right? So lots of money, so.
We do all day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We negotiate.
What's your strength?
I'm read right now. Let me think about this though, right?
Yeah.
I wanna think about something like this. I don't read, right? That was negotiate with ourselves. And it's something we should write out. Right, here's my contract, right? Contract, expectations of
So, I'll
calendar,
be like, yeah, I'm gonna.
calendar,
Eight clients,
prospect, right?
Yeah.
You and I know you do, she does an event.
Calendar, prospect, and then not willing to
Makes sense, so like, you can leverage that where, that's like, this thing is an event.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. My problem is, every time I make one call, my phone rings, I answer the call.
Yeah.
And it's all in the same direction of what you were saying. I'll make a rational.
And that's fine, I don't have, you go, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Because my team is not a big deal, because
Friday's a VIP, right? Because the business goes like that.
Yeah.
You call me on Friday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So the answer is call.
Yeah.
Right? Now I'm distracted from what I'm about to do. Right?
think about this, what can you do about this?
Though is that when I write it down.
She's all-
This is
Yeah.
That's the market, how can
during my anything else. Right? That's what helps a lot.
Right.
I find
the budget your way, right? You can literally budget, make smart choices, make my.
When I'm taking calls, taking emails,
Yeah.
I'm able to be more successful.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's really not allowing one
Yeah.
all the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can do it at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Because you still have to bring it. Right. So no, I get that. Making that a priority. I like what you said about.
But writing down what you're doing.
Yeah.
Every week, write it down. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to negotiate. These are the things that are non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Or maybe like connecting with 50 people, whatever, 100 people.
And this one, I wouldn't know.
I feel like everything.
Okay,
I think you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Distraction.
Exactly, getting distracted, not being focused, or sometimes I gotta find a place.
Say no.
Yeah.
Saying no. It's a hard
Yep.
thing for us.
Saying no, yeah.
Saying no, that's it right there.
Yeah, no, that's it.
When he was talking about
personality, I'm gonna help everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
I can do anything for everyone, right? If someone asks me to do something, I'm like, no, no problem, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I've got to learn how to say, no, sorry, I'm not going to get this week.
Yeah.
That's okay.
What my help one day, you're going to wait a couple of Hard delegate.
We did that marriage.
But that's come as.
When I go to the restaurant, I don't know.
Not just now.
You'll not even talk and go, I can't really partially on that.
I'm like, delegate everything. Or I'm like, okay, I gotta figure it out. I gotta figure it out.
And it's like,
Sit down, like, no. You guys figure it out. And when I do that, this is what happens. They figure it out. But it ain't always out to be.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm being constantly interrupted. Stop me from what I'm.
And help you freeze you to be able to.
I suggest making a plan.
And that's the part of that.
Are we good? Everyone good?
How do they grow?
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
You guys are talking about how to do. All right.
Utilize your supercomputer.
I just finished, morning nap.
Okay, we're good.
So how do you get over the distraction? People like your client calling you.
Yeah.
You're on the phone.
Yeah.
So what?
Someone,
Yeah, give them like 30 seconds, yeah.
or John calling you, right?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
You know.
30 seconds.
Get around that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you think of. Could you do that?
Just time thing.
You
Yeah,
tell them.
yeah, I'm not available.
Do not call me.
Yeah, exactly. I love what you
I know, but when you make, we have it made.
And then you talk about how things that need fires that need put out eventually. Because
It's nice to know that. It's nice to know that usually most people, like, I'm not alone. Like a lot of people.
Well, it's funny how they look with kids.
I don't care what's going on, you guys.
But the same, yeah. Yeah, because you're still out there.
Right.
Yeah, you're still out there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap it up. 30 seconds. Let's go. Time now.
Yeah.
I am diligent.
All right, thank you for those online.
Not answering them.
Yeah.
If they see me, if I'm willing to.
Yeah. Yeah.
They say, well, I can interrupt them too.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, he's airline tickets. He's buying airline tickets.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Great conversations. I had a good conversation too. Hope that was enlightening. What ahas did you have in your conversation? Either online or here. What ahas?
We negotiate with ourselves too much.
Oh, you negotiate with yourself.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right. Yeah.
That's my partner.
Negotiate. Something to compromise too much, right?
Negotiate with yourself.
Yeah. I'll tell people, what's the number one rule in negotiation? Don't negotiate with yourself. Don't negotiate with yourself, right? I tell people on that listing commission when there's like, should I do six? I want 6, but should I do 5? I'm like, stop negotiating with yourself. Tell them 6 and let them negotiate, right? Let them negotiate, right? Stop negotiating with yourself. So what other ahas? Great aha? Think money? What else? I know people have some great ahas. Strengths, weaknesses, how you're overcoming them? Anyone online?
Write it down.
Write down.
Make a plan.
And I want to note this. The reason we're going through this exercise is this is how we get to self-mastery. I'm not just doing this to have exercise. But you need to realize that you have strengths and weaknesses. You have a goal, and there's going to be potholes along the way. And you got to set up structures and habits and things to get through those potholes. There's never going to be a straight line to success. I guarantee it, because there's life lessons you're going to have to learn along the way to get through that, to get to that goal. I guarantee it. So the reason why we had those 3 things is because we want you to think about what's going to derail.
Saying no, Chuck, I heard Monty say that, but it brought to me and held attention. Saying no because people can suck up your time and they're not talking about nothing, and money is time. I mean, time is money or whatever, is most, whatever, you know. If it ain't paying the bills, you know, keep the conversation short, you know, move on, you know.
Yeah, I was coaching an agent one time and he was calling a super I personality, just like he would get a lead on stranger, like talking to him like 40 minutes. And I was like, he could have closed that appointment like minute 7. Like literally closed the appointment, would have had the appointment set, minute 7. He goes like 40. And I'm like, close. I put Post-it notes in front of him like, close. And he wouldn't do it, right? Close. So understand where your strengths and weaknesses are. Your strengths may be, I make great relationships. I get power from talking to people. They feel that power too. They feel a connection too, right?
But time is valuable.
But time is valuable. So what's my weaknesses? I let it go too far. What's holding me back is I don't talk to enough people. I only talk to a few people, and I feel great, but it's a myth feeling because my business isn't going because I haven't talked to them. Even though I may have talked with that 3 great conversations, it's not enough, right?
But you said that at the very beginning, so did Amy. You gotta get a routine where you talk to a lot of people every day. The script thing, or you're never gonna get anybody. You're never gonna get anything.
It's the numbers game. All right. Okay. Now everyone good on self-mastery?
Practice.
Practice.
You said, John, earlier about the, you said with the Jenny Craig or what was it?
Weight Watchers. Yeah,
Weight Watchers, like how you're checking your points.
Yeah.
And the thing about it was like people get distracted, they get frustrated because they didn't get a lot of points, and they stop.
Yeah.
Doing it instead of doing it over and over again. It's the practice over and over again, no matter how.
I had to get that because I was like, man, I blew up today. I don't even want to put it in because I'm like, it's gonna like burn. And I was like,
I was over what 300 points.
But it's just the practice.
No, and then I got to the thing was like, you know what? My habit is I just need to enter it in. Don't make any judgment. Hey, Hinder, quiet, please. But I made a judgment on my Weight Watchers is don't worry. Put everything in, no matter what,
Right.
no matter how many points it is. Put it all in, and then what happens is after I say, hey, here, you know, and then I see patterns like my dinner is where I go wrong every night. So what did I do? This week I ordered fast and lean
For dinner.
and I ordered only 5 dinners. That's it. Because I said, I do my breakfast okay, I do my lunch okay, I mess up on dinner. If I make dinner right, everything goes okay. You start getting that power by just doing the action. You see observations.
Practice.
Practice. All right. Good stuff to commit to self-mastery. Anything online? Anyone want to chime in?
Come on, y'all.
Come on, man. You guys are like, okay.
Come on, Ann.
Ann, y'all calling out, Ann.
Are you harassing me, Alita? I know it's you. Coach, keeping me accountable. So my thing is still my self-beliefs. So I've had a pattern. So this is my aha, saying it out loud to someone that I don't know very well, which is, kind of makes you vulnerable. That if I don't do it, then I won't fail. So I still have that, so I kind of hold back, or I don't put myself out there because I don't want to fail, but I know that needs to change so I can succeed and reach my goals.
And I tell that to my daughters every time. It's like, failing isn't messing up.
No.
Failing is not getting up and trying again.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's that. I was like, no one got to anywhere. I can tell you my path is littered with failures. In fact, I found out the quicker I fail, the quicker I grow.
It's just like a kid. When a kid starts walking, they fall.
Yeah.
But they get right back. They ain't even thinking about it. They ain't even how they get back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see Gary's unmuted.
Gary, you there?
Maybe he's driving the
All right, we got to move forward for time though. Let's go on to step 2. Commit to the 80-20 principle. Ooh, this is hard. Let's talk about habits here. Ooh. Truth. There is a pattern of predictable imbalance in life. It's called the 80-20 principle. And I'm going to read this it's on page. Oh, let's see. It's on the 27. In the 1940s, quality control manager Dr. Joseph Juran documented a life-changing universal principle that was called the vital few and trivial many. The idea was that a relatively small percentage of the efforts led to a vast majority of your results. He attributed some of his findings to the statistical work of the Italian economist Pareto, who observed that 80% of the wealth in this country was owned by 20% of the population. That fate would have it that broadly embraced principles came to be known as German law, but as Pareto's principle. These days we simply call it the 80-20 principle. The idea is that 20% of your action leads to 80% of your results, may be one of the most powerful principles you can apply to your life. If you're getting the most from your time and effort, it's about maximizing your results. It's about having focus. Focus is the key to great success. More than effort, experience, or even natural ability. Look at the highest achievers in the field and you'll discover that they have powerful focus. Just as importantly, you'll learn that they focus on the right things, a handful of truly important issues that make the biggest difference.
Everybody talks about this. I'm reading the Mail this morning.
Yeah.
And that was part of my reading today.
So think about that. It is. I have it on my thing. I try to read it once a year because you get loose with it sometimes. You get loose with it a lot. This is very important to understand in business. 80-20. You need to be working to get rid of your 80%. Now, there's a natural way we do that in the office is we have transaction coordinators. That's a way to get rid of some of your 80%. But you need to think about how do I get rid of my 80%? And the only thing that should be concerning you as a real estate agent, frankly, is what? Lead gen, lead follow-up, and appointments. Everything else is 80%. Everything else is 80%. In fact, I hated this stuff so much, I hired a team because I was like, I don't want to do that. In fact, I tried to figure out how I can least touch the clients after we're in escrow. Literally. I got it down to like 2 visits, one for the inspections and one at close. That's it. Because I didn't want to spend time on that because that wasn't my 80%. I mean, that wasn't my 20%. Think about this. If you spent most of your day only focusing on getting leads, lead follow-up, and appointments, what would your business look like?
A lot different than it is now.
Yeah, a lot different. Think about that's all you did. A lot of people ask, John, how do you manage different businesses? You know how I do it? Is I only figure out my 20% on that business, and that's all I do, and I leverage everything else. Think about that. If I worked 8 hours in a day, and 20%, 2 hours of that day, essentially, or say I work 10 hours in a day, 2 hours of that day are activities that would get me the most results. What if I worked on 2 hours on this business and 20%, and 20%, and 20%? I could run 5 businesses doing all 20% activities I need, and they would be all successful. So I want you to see the power of the 80-20 principle. This is really going to be the key to unlocking your business, unlocking it. So fewer activities from many cities. I want to read the story on page 29. Actually, you guys can read the story. Let's take turns. Who wants to read it? Start it out. Who's a good reader? You have to call on people? Brian, why don't you read the first paragraph?
The big rock comes first. The principle isn't intuitive. We feel like the more we do, the greater results we should see. Yet while we prioritize what really matters, we achieve. Don't you read?
Yeah, first paragraph.
A philosophy professor decided to teach his class a lesson on priorities. He pulled out a jar and added as many big rocks as he could fit. He asked the students if it was full, and they agreed it was. So the professor picked up a box of pebbles and poured them in. He shook the jar lightly. The pebbles, of course, rolled into the open areas between the rocks. He then asked the students again if the jar was full. Fewer students agreed it was this time.
Believe it.
The professor picked up a box of sand and poured it in. Of course, the sand filled up everything else. When he asked the students again if it was full, he heard a few tentative yeses before he pulled out a watering can and proceeded to fill the jar to the brim. He looked out to the expectant faces. We can all finally agree that this jar is full, right? The students nodded, wondering where he was going with his demonstration.
Melinda?
I'm like this person.
She pulled out another empty jar, identical to the first. More big rocks, more small rocks, more pebbles, more sand, and more water. In reverse order, starting with the water. He asked if he filled the jar with those things, would there be room for any of the other things? All of the students said no.
When he got to the big rocks, he explained the big rocks must go in first. This jar is symbolic of life. Everything here represents the priority in life. The big rocks represent, your list of essential non-negotiables. The others represent the smaller, less important priorities in your life. If you spend all your time chasing the trivial things that don't matter, you will never achieve your highest priorities. Whatever your highest priorities are, make sure that you make adequate time and space in your life to accomplish them.
Adequate time.
Adequate time. Yeah, so I want you to note that, think about that analogy. The big rocks are what matters most. And if you start with putting water in first, if you put a big rock in, everything overflows, right? So if you try to do the little things, that's what you end up never getting to the big rocks, because you know it's going to overflow your life. It's going to make you feel too stressed, right? So when we are focused on the 20% that matters, we get 80% we want. So, please. I think. Click. So extreme Pareto, identify your 40% thinking. That's where I find the vital few. So if you go to page 30, 31. Sorry, 31. So Pareto and then proved that that is successful, that the 80-20% is successful. And I can tell you that's across industries, doctors, lawyers, wealth, it's all that way. Things are never equal. So how a successful turns a to-do list into a success list with so many things to do, how do you decide what matters most at any given moment on any given day? You turn your to-do list into a success list. Pointing out how, for example, if you wanted to run a marathon, could you do that in one day?
No.
Could you run 100 yards every day to get there? So what you want to do is get your success list to a vital few. So, and you want to get it to what we call extreme Pareto. So what does that mean is we take our 20%. So what's your 20% as a real estate agent? Lead generator. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. What lead generation do you do to get your business?
Open houses.
So if I want to take you, Brian, extreme, how would I make your doing open houses more of your 20%? How would you get more bang out of your 20%? How would I make it extreme?
Do more open houses.
Do more open houses. Okay. More open houses in the same amount of time, right? Okay, I'm going to do more open houses. How would you do more open houses in the same amount of time?
All right.
What if someone put out signs for you? Would you do more? Could you do them back to back? Or maybe
Figure out to bring more people in.
Yeah, maybe do more bingo. Maybe it's about knocking doors before the open house that really makes the difference, right? So think about what your 20% is, right? What skills do I learn? Maybe it's about I need to get better at converting people that do walk in the open house, right? So you can take your success list to an extreme, and that was a good example of open houses. What do you need that is specific? I don't know how well you do on open houses or not do, but what would be the number one thing that if you did that would make it your open houses as successful as they can be? If you did one thing, what would that be? And that's what I want to think, because a lot of people say, oh, I do more open houses. But maybe it isn't doing more open houses. Maybe it's an activity that brings more people in there or helps you convert better, right? So
advertising. I saw some people do little advert for their cards, mail them out to everybody in the area, a lot of places in the area when they're having an open house.
yeah, we actually are not, when we do open house, we drop flyers to get more sellers there because we're focused on listings. So we said in our team, listings is the number one thing. That's it. Listings are the most important thing. We will have buyers if we get listings. Listings control the market. If we do a listing, guaranteed check, right? So we focus everything on listings. So what do? If we do an open house, we walk and talk to the neighbors. We even circle dial to say we're doing an open house. Why? Because I want to get to the sellers. I want to get to the sellers, and I want them to come into the open house and see our face and talk to us. That's what I want. That's going to get us the highest ratio of sellers. So think about your 20% success list. So, all right. So excerpt from the one thing should be in there on page 31, as you said. While to-do lists serve as a useful correction to our best intentions, they also tyrannize us with trivial, unimportant stuff that we feel obligated to get done because it's on the list. Achievers operate differently. They have an eye for the essential. So how many of you open your email and check your voicemails and text messages, and the first thing you do as an agent is put out fires on your escrows? No, I know you guys do that.
Anne's raising her hand.
Exactly, right? How do you get an escrow and you start strangling it? You spend all your time managing that escrow, right? All that's unimportant stuff. I guarantee if you did calls for 2 hours in the morning from 9 to 11 and then called all those fire, 4 or 5 alarm fire text messages and emails you got, you know what's going to happen? 90% of them are going to say, oh, we figured it out. Never mind. So think about, right? Left in this raw state, a simple inventory, a to-do list can easily lead you astray. The first thing on your list is just the first thing on you thought of. To-do lists inherently lack intent of success. Long hours spent checking off a to-do list and ending the day with a trash can and a clear desk has nothing to do with success. Instead of a to-do list, you need a success list, a list that is purposely created around extraordinary results. To-do lists tend to be long, success lists are short. One pulls you in all directions, the other aims you in a specific direction. If your to-do list contains everything, then it's probably taking you everywhere, but where you really want to go. So, you have your goal, right? From page 13, right? Yeah. So we're going to take an exercise on page 32, I believe. Yes. Good. On page 32, you'll see your goal, right?
On page 30.
33. Oh, 33, sorry, 33. Write your goal for page 13. Now, to achieve that goal, write down as many things that you can think of that you need to do to make that goal a reality. So, Alita had, I want to pay off debt. Right? One thing is, I need to get clear on what debt I have. Right? I need to figure out which one has the highest interest rate so I can pay that down first. Right? I gotta budget better. I gotta get a budget going so I can dedicate more money to paying that off. Right? Whatever that looks like. Right? What's my to-do list to solve that issue? I guarantee if you think about it deeply enough, you're going to come up with a vast list. Probably those 10 lines are not even enough to get your goal done, if you really thought about it. So on 2, write your to-do list. More tasks. What tasks do you do? Think about everything you need to do your goal. So those of you on Zoom, write that task list down. If you don't have it printed out, just write at least 10 things that you can think of that you're doing could do to make your goal, that you need to do to make your goal a reality. All right, everyone got their 10 things? All right. Number 3, now create a success list. Circle the task, you can circle several, 3 or 4 tasks that on your to-do list that if you did that, it would have the greatest impact on achieving your goal. What would have the greatest impact on achieving your goal? Which ones? Ryan, you're like, all.
Yeah, it's good.
Which ones are the most important? Now, make your success list from the ones you identified as the most important to your impact on your goal. Which one, if you drove everything, you identify that one goal, if you did that really, really well, that would solve just about everything. That would solve 80% of your goal if you did this one thing. 80% of your goal would be done. It's one. So it's going to be somewhere on your success list. This is extreme 80-20, and it's important that you understand this is what successful people do. We identify the one thing that is most important, and we do that.
You know, in the Miracle Morning Millionaire, I just finished that book, and they say, you know, we always say, I'm a millionaire, you speak this, it says, you're supposed to say, I am committed to doing such and such to get towards my goal. Instead of, you know, I'm 100% committed.
I agree. So think about that. If you had only one thing you knew you had to do every day to get to 80% of your goal, one thing, does that not make your life easy? Less stressful? Purposeful? Right? Simple? I know we're all looking for a little more simplicity in life, right?
Yeah.
Right? So think about that. People who, people ask me all the time, like, John, man, I don't know how you do it. I can handle all the things that are thrown in. And you know what I tell them? It's part of the job. But the reason I know that is because while I can handle it, I know as long as I do my one thing, and I do that once a day, and I do my one thing once a day, nothing else matters. I can handle everything else. It doesn't matter what's thrown at me. I can deal with it because I know I did my one thing. And if I do my one thing, I'm going to hit my goal. That's all that matters. I tell people all the time in this job, in this business, the highest correlation in KW offices to profitability is one measure. Do you anyone know what it is? Agent count. Literally the number of agents in the office. It's not number of producers. It's not the highest producers. It's none of that. The number one indicator of profitability that correlates to a profitable office is agent, number of agents in the office. So I saw that, and I go, because I had some people like, you need to recruit the best agents and only the top agents and all this stuff. And then I saw that, I go, number one is just number of agents. So I said, you know what? I'm going to open this as wide as I can, because the more agents get, the more likely we have profitability, right? And so think about your goals. Think about what's the one thing you need to do to make your goal happen. And it could be, I just do number of more open houses. I just do more. I do 2. It could be, I get better on open. I just walk. I walk before I do my open house. What's the extreme? All right? Any questions? All right. If you page to page 35, it's called Focus on 411. So, anyone I know who is successful tracks their goals. You have to track your goals. In fact, if you are a direct reporter to me in my world, I have them fill out an intentional journal, and they have to text it to me that they did it, because I want them every day showing me that they're tracking their goals. You need to take your annual goal, whatever your goal is, break it down into weekly, to monthly and weekly goals. And you can see on page 37 is an example of a 411 action plan. This person is mega agent, Mike, a mega agent. He wants 24 listings, 18 bar size, 60 quality listings, 150 listing appointments. And if you broke down monthly, you can see that 5 listings, 2 listings sold, 2 buyers in escrow, 3 buyers contract closed, 15 listing appointments, lead generate 3 hours a day. If you did that, you would see And then you can see per week, first week, attend 5 listing events, close one buyer account, lead generate 3 hours a day. Interview 2 candidates for buyer specialist position, teach Ignite class, lead ALC meeting, work on materials for investor farm, personal financial. So you can see the work on there. Everyone see that? There's 401s, forums all over the place. You can literally Google 411. And there's electronic versions of it. So you can do 401, which is, and you can see a little link on there. It says KW Connect. You can go to KW Connect. There's one online as well. I'm going to tell you this, tracking your goals is super tedious. It's going to feel like work. It's going to feel like unnecessary work. Trust me, it will feel like that. You just got to do it. If you want powerful momentum in your life, and this is going to sound a little airy-fairy, but if you want powerful momentum in your life, you need to get your subconscious lined up with your. If you ever wake up because you're stressing about something, and you wake up and something's in the back of your mind that woke you up at 3 a.m. because you're stressing about something, and, or I didn't do that, right?
Yes,
or I know I need to deal with this, but I haven't dealt with it. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
That's your subconscious waking you up saying, yo, you're not doing the most important thing. We're out of alignment. You want momentum? Get in alignment. You know how you get in alignment? Your subconscious and your conscious are very clear on what's the most important thing. And when that happens is when you track stuff. In fact, I've taken extreme Pareto on 412 intentional drill for 90 days. This whole book is 90 days. 90 days. And literally we write 90-day goals. And literally every day you fill out a daily form on that, you have to rewrite that 90-day goal every day. Now, what do you think of the action that you actually write your 90-day goal every freaking day? What's that going to do to your subconscious? What's it going to do to your mental?
Repetition, learn.
Yeah, it's going to be repetitive. Your mind's only going to think like, I need to do that. I need to do that. I need to do that, right? So what I want you to understand is this tracking in 401 is important because it teaches your brain to focus on the right thing. And your brain's a programmable machine, right? You got to train your brain. And this is the biggest thing where people talk about habits and the difference when I talk about habits and to get your life where I want to. And I'm sure when you guys did the obstacles and strengths and weaknesses, most of the stuff I can talk about is bad choices and bad habits, right? And most of your bad choices are because of bad habits, right? So when I talk about changing your life and we talk about habits, how do we actually, when we failed in making changes in our life in the past, how do we physically make those changes in the future? You have to change the way you physically think. And one of the best ways I know to make your way, change the way you physically think is put your goals in front of you and repeat them every freaking day. Your mind and your subconscious especially is like a sponge. And this is even if you, Ann was on there, but talk about negative self-talk, self-confidence. This is the same thing, same exact thing. If you focus on the negative, you'll get reinforced in negative. You'll get that negative self-talk. And someone says, I have a big self-critic, tells me I'm mine and bashes me inside my head all day long. And I said, you know what? You're just not focusing on the positive. Because everything's negative and everything's positive. Everything's negative. You have a choice. And so this teaches you to focus on the positive. Right? Focus on the positive. Any questions? Ahas? Thoughts?
I heard guy John Gordon who wrote The Energy Bus. I just listened to him speak, and he said he made a comment. He said, "Learn to speak to yourself more than you listen to yourself."
Yeah.
And like when you're writing down your daily do's or whatever goals, or you're speaking to yourself about what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So speak to yourself more than you listen to yourself, because when you listen to how you think all the time, you listen to all the negative parts.
Exactly.
So you got to talk to yourself more frequently so that you.
Yeah, every time I write those goals, it seems a little easier. It's like, that's who I am. That's what I'm doing. I will hit that goal because I'm writing it every day, right? And so you train your brain. So if you can't focus, I need better habits, I need to change things. That's the number one way you got to set the pattern in your mind and reinforce that pattern. If you're on page 39, you will see one. I highly recommend you do this. Or you know what? If you're in this class, I'll even buy you one, like $30. But you need to get something that you do daily that puts you in front of your goals daily.
So another one I did was Eat That Frog, 21 Great Ways to Stop Procrastinating. That it has an audiobook on YouTube. That's where,
Yeah.
but like you said, it said you take little by little. You tackle the main things first.
Yeah, let me show you. Yeah, let me show you how simple it is. I break this at perfect. So, tackle the frog. I was super frustrated because when I took the TL position, I used to do marathons, triathlons, and I took this position and it rocked my world. I was like, I wasn't training anymore. I gained like 35 pounds, like literally. And I could not figure this out. And I was like, and finally I got to a coach. I was like, this is really frustrating me. In fact, it's infecting all the other parts of my business and life. I'm super negative talking to myself on my health, right? And I was like, man, I used to be super healthy, and now I'm not. And we did the success list exercise. So, John, what could you do? I was like, I could do a triathlon a quarter. He's like, well, that's a lot, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, is that realistic? I'm like, probably not. He's like, John, what you could do? I'll just do a 5K every other month. Well, that sounds like a lot. Are you going to run that? I was like, man, that's like, I'm like, am I even healthy now? Like, I'm not even running, right? So, and we had this conversation back and forth. And finally, it's like, John, what's the minimal thing you can do every day that you will actually do and make the time to do that you'll do? And I said, you know what? I can walk, literally walk. It's not super healthy. Get your heart rate up maybe 10, 20 beats a second, right? Literally walk. And I said, fine, I'll walk. I can walk. Anyway, I cannot hurt. I was really frustrated because if I start running and I'm out of shape, I'll injure something, right? So I was like, you know what? I'll just walk. So I just started walk. And I walk daily. So I got in the habit. And then someone said, oh, we're having a push-up challenge to raise money for this Alzheimer's system. Well, I'll do push-ups. No, I do 50 push-ups after I walk every day. And just think about the little things and that's what I want you to know is when you think about those things, break them down really little. Your self-critic is going to beat you up and you think you need to achieve high, but it's really about a little goal. And most of the time it's something really little, or most of the time it's a conversation you haven't had with someone you need to, right? All right. If we go to page 41. People think there is never enough time to be successful, but there is when you time block it. Oh my gosh, time blocking. What is time blocking? Can you explain that, Alita?
It is actually I'm old, so I try to get my brain on paper like John.
Okay.
You know, just marking out the times and sticking to those times. And there's no option. There's no exception. You have to put a note on your door. You have to time block to get your work done.
Yeah, so it's not putting an appointment on your calendar, it's putting activities on your calendar.
Activity.
Put an activity on it. You're making an appointment with yourself to do a specific activity.
To get to your goal.
John, just to speak on the time blocking part about it, I actually kind of think about it as more time protect.
Yeah.
Because I block it, and sometimes there's things that can come and get in the way of your time block, or they try to distract you from your time block. But if you think of it as time protect, not only do you block it on your calendar, but you're protecting that time and making sure that that's your one thing you get to do during that time. So I wanted to share that.
I like that.
Excellent. I appreciate that. When I told you tracking your results and goals and keeping it in front of you every day is how you change your thinking about things. Time blocking. If there's one skill you want to learn that will help you be successful, that will make you successful, it is time. And a lot of people think it's controlling your life, taking away the fun out of my life. I have a lot of people you're constricting me. Why would I constrict myself? Like, why would I want to have fun, right? If you do time blocking well, it is the most free your life will ever be. It sounds opposite, but trust me. If you time block your life, what you'll realize is you then only thing you do is what you choose to actually do. If you actually choose to do what you want to do in life, you will have momentum in those areas, and when you have momentum in areas, it will feel awesome. And you'll have more freedom.
Time don't stop.
Right, trust me. If you lead, I guarantee if you lead gen 2 hours a day, you lead gen, and that's the only thing we time block, 2 hours in the morning a day. That's all you heck, 3 days a week. I don't care. You only time block 6 hours a week of lead gen a day, you'll be a capper. I guarantee. I don't care if you fumbled over the scripts.
Because we're already in June, we were just celebrating New Year's like yesterday.
Yeah, even if you have 6 months in your capper, you'll cap. You'll cap in a quarter. Cap in probably 6 months.
You have to do it twice.
That's the power of time blocking, and I can't stress it enough. If you want high success, the super high producers, the super successful people, how do I manage my time and handle all the distractions? I time block. Trust me, there's people who come up on my door, my window, they're all looking. I'm just like, no, I got to do this. And they get it. They kind of hover around a little bit. I'm like, no, I'm doing my thing. If someone comes in, John, that person's here, I'm like, I got to finish this. So understand what's your most important thing and time block for it. I can't stress that enough. And you got to protect it, hold it tight. Trust me, I was supposed to lead gen 2 hours a day. I only got 1 hour of lead gen in this morning. I literally tacked it on at 4:30 because I said, I'm going to be a later home. I didn't even text my wife. I'm going to be home 1 hour later than usual because I need to do my lead gen later.
Your clock on your alarm clock on your phone.
Yeah.
I've learned to use that instead of alarm clock for the beginning.
So, as an agent, if you do not have a lead generation habit, that's number one. That's your one thing. There's no other thing you should be working on other than that. Other than that, there's no other thing you should be working on other than lead generation. All right?
Who's asleep?
Gary's still not.
So right now I want to do this. You know your one thing, right? Page 43. What's your one thing? I want you to time block it on your calendar. Open your calendar on your phone. Set 5 reminders, because I know you'll blow them off.
Don't hit the snooze.
Don't hit the snooze. And do your one thing. Remember we had our goal, page 13, our goal? We made our one principle, right? Our one action, right? Put that one action on your calendar. How long is it going to take? How many hours should you do it? So bust out your calendar on your phone and put that on the calendar.
Can you say again what we're supposed to do?
So remember we had our goal?
Yeah.
And through the success list, we picked one thing that we need to do. Make that thing successful. I need you to figure out, to schedule that one thing you need to do on your calendar. And if it's a repetitive thing, like lead gen 2 hours a day, then you need to make it a repeat appointment on your calendar. If it's like one thing that I need to go talk to my spouse about something, then make that appointment when you're going to talk with your spouse. Clear?
Clear.
This is how frogs are eaten in the morning.
Hey.
So no. Oh, it's outside.
Well, that sounds like Desiree.
No, I'm right here.
Desiree right there.
Okay. And this one I want to know, page 45. This is important. Protect your time block. Truth is, the will doesn't know your purpose and your priorities, and it isn't responsible for them. And I'm going to stress this enough. I'm going to stress this, especially as real estate agents, because we get barraged a lot. Okay? Stop making other people's priorities your priority.
Man,
Stop making other people's priorities your priority.
learned.
Stop making other, let me give you an example. TC team, or enhanced, I was helping the SB and the enhanced team. They're like, man, it's like fire, we're all over the place, we're just responding to all these agents coming at us. Can you imagine TC? They have 100 files, agents are just coming at them all the time, right? Emails and text messages and phone calls. Like, man, we're this and that, and you know, checks are getting held, and we're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I said, time out. What's the most important thing as a TC we can do? What's the one thing we can do for agents? What's the one thing that will make customer service awesome? Agents are happy, they will come back and repeat business. What do you think that is for a TC? When the file closes, they get their check.
Yes, sir.
Right? That's all you want, right? With a TC, when the file closes, they get their check. And so I designed the whole system. I said, you know what? Something that starts 2 weeks out from close, we review that every morning. We huddle, we have a list, we know what's going to close in 2 weeks, and something happens at 2 weeks, something happens at 1 week, and then when it gets within 5 days of close, something happens every day to make sure that file closes on time. And we have a huddle, and everyone talks about those transactions. Only those transactions. We make a list of to-dos for those transactions to move those transactions to close with the goal of getting them closed by the time approved, by the time it's closed. You don't do anything. That after that meeting, you have your to-do list. All those to-dos get done before you answer an email, a text message, or a phone call. Those are your priorities. That's it. Don't make other people's emergencies your emergencies. And if you can do that in your real estate business, it's going to be awesome. Trust me. It's going to be great because you're going to realize you're running your day by other people's priorities. You're running your day by other people's priorities. And successful people know how to protect their time and their priorities. And they don't let other people dissuade them from that. And you think it's going to ruin your customer service, but it's not. It's actually going to make you more powerful. It will get you more respect. When I call them back and say, hey, I know you called me at 9 o'clock. I'm just returning that call. And half the time they're like, oh, sorry, we already resolved that issue. We found out the answer, right? We just called escrow, or something like that, right? You're like, okay, great, fantastic. But what do? They start respecting your time. They realize you're busy. They realize you're professional. They realize you're successful, and they like that. They want to work with someone, right? So a lot of people try to have their value and worth be, I'm available to everyone all the time. Instead, their value should be, I'm a professional, and I have many clients. But that's the reason you're with me, because I give you the best service. Right? And service isn't about time necessarily. Service is about so. All right. Just some things you need to worry about. Build a bunker, store provisions, sweep for mines, and list support. What does it mean, build a bunker? When you do your lead gen, you need to find somewhere that's distraction-free. For your talkers, like Alita and Helen, I know you guys like to talk.
I learned to put a note on my door.
Yeah, you gotta build a bunker. If you're one that always, like, the reason I have this and I carry it around is, I always want water. I'm a very thirsty guy. And anywhere I go, I carry my water with me because I know if I don't, I will get up and go get water. I know I will. I will make excuses to go get water. I will. Sweep for minds. So turn off your cell phone, shut down your email. Right? Trust me. And list support. Tell those around you that don't bother.
What you said about, if you have your own, like, office and home, you go in there, close the door, bring stuff with you, and if you gotta sit there for a long time, you can do it.
Build your bunker. Yeah. I can't stress this enough. If you can learn about time blocking and building a bunker, protecting that time, it will change your life. Change your life. All right. Any ahas we're learning from this chapter? Anyone? 820? Any ahas? What are you changing in your business? What are you changing in your business?
I already have started, like the way I get up and, my mindset and starting to open my door and using my top on my phone, processing everything and stuff, so.
You got a routine, but you said you have to have a routine set up, how to get things done. And then you get the priorities done, which is the business thing afterward, but you have everything else done, allocate things, prioritize what has to be done, and others have to put aside. You gotta get your business done in the morning.
So we're gonna move on quickly to E to P here. It's hard to see on this line, but this is your success path in life. How many have been like this? Boink. Well, from high school, everything was good until life got hard, right? I got married, my bad husband, had a good job, yeah. Oh man, I need more education, right? I don't like the job, okay? I maxed out. And you go down and boom, and sometimes you go, but you hit it and you keep hitting it. And you keep hitting that ceiling. And you know your ceiling usually is tied to the most money you made in your life. And if you notice, even over year after year, you will always hit that ceiling. That's called being entrepreneurial.
John, I think I learned to do my big rocks first. I mean, it just really kind of like light bulb moment.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the number one way I'm telling you how to be purposeful is you do the things that are purposeful. Coaching, consulting. You do things that are purposeful. So we're not doing that, but okay. Move from E to P. Step 1, focus. Write your goals. Focus on the 20%. Step 2, ask how can this be done? Ask, are there different ways to do this better, right? Step 3, look at models. Attend training that teaches you how to get where you want to go. Identify mentors and those who have done it before, right? That's why we have coaching and training. Step 6, install systems. Systems and models are the way you're going to go from entrepreneur to purposeful. Systems. Systemize yourself. Time block. Practice scripts. Create checklists. Make sure the system you install works consistently and efficiently. Bring accountability. Measure what you do. Keep track of it. Have an accountability.
That's exactly what I read this morning, Miracle Morning Salesperson. That's exactly what exactly what the chapter was about.
There you go, right? And the thing is the reason it's a Miracle Morning is here is because it's not a secret. What most people don't realize is the secret sauce to success is here, just people won't do it. They think it's something different. They think it's some skill, some special script, or something that's going to make them a lot of money when it's really just this. Right? And people who I work with, like I said, do in the church, because I want to bring extreme accountability to them. The number one I think I can do, if you have a team, what you want to do is bring extreme accountability to the people around. Be a mirror. They will make the choices differently when you start showing them how they show up. Right? Be the mirror to those people. Make them self-relevant. And you guys know yourself, so all right.
So same time tomorrow?
Yep. We're going to support them. Any aha from this whole thing? Sorry, 80-20 is pretty quick. I mean, sorry. E to P was really quick, but I want to note this. That is where you want to go. We talked about goals, time blocking, your one thing, right? When you go that way, you realize you're purposeful. Your life is going to start feeling very purposeful. That's how you get from E to P. If you don't know what your one thing is, talk with a coach, consult with me. Whatever you can do, we'll figure out your one thing. But get your one thing defined, get your goal, go in there and track it. We'll have accountability partners around it. That's how you go from E to P. That's literally success. Everything you wanted in life that you didn't have before lies on the other side of that. It sounds stupid, scary fairy. I know. It sounds stupid, airy fairy. Trust me, I took the first class and they're like, do this and this. I'm like, oh, that's bullcrap. 5 years later, I'm like, oh my God, they were totally right. Right? Yeah. So just think about this, and you can see everything we're talking about is designed to make you a better you.
Right.
Time blocking, goal setting, accountability, all those things is a better you. You're the trick to making success happen. It all is you. Literally all you. And if you can figure that out, check your ego and realize it's just you. It's just, and all the mistakes and all the success in the past is you. And that's okay. And it can change right now. Literally, it can change right now. And I can tell you, if you do change, the change is dramatic. It will happen. It will feel different overnight. Oh, okay. Everyone, I appreciate your time. Thank you. We will be here tomorrow at 1:30 to finish out. Thank you, Monty. I appreciate you being here, man.
They record everything.